Yo, what's going on, y'all? Mike here, Sports and the Real Shit. Welcome back to another episode of our countdown. Best players to wear jerseys number 30 through 1 in the NFL history. We're actually down to number 10 now. It's been a long ride, been fun. Can't believe we're that far along, man. But appreciate y'all joining me once again. Number 10 is an interesting number. Some really good. So let's get into it. We'll start with, for those of us who've been watching football for a couple decades now, right? Right now, almost every quarterback, can run and throw. That's like the thing now. You don't want no statues back there. D-lines are too athletic, blah, 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 right? Defenses are too good. You need a quarterback that stresses the defense with the pass and the run. That wasn't always the case in the NFL. And when Cordell Stewart came on the scene in Pittsburgh, he was like this anomaly. He was like, oh, wow. So they gave him this nickname, Slash. So he came in, he was like these special plays, Slash. Turns out he was setting the trend. But Cordell Stewart played 11 years in Pittsburgh, Chicago, Baltimore, really 7. Had some injury issues or whatever, right? Only threw for 4,746 yards, 77 touchdowns. But he did run for 38. That was his thing, right? Again, he was Slash and made 1 Pro Bowl. But Cordell never really got to start for that many years, right? He was a backup. He was a specialty play guy initially in Pittsburgh. Got to start a couple of years of them, but then, kind of flamed out after that. Never really caught on and, became what people thought he was going to become, which is like setting the standard, which everybody's doing now, and Jalen Hurts and Lamar and all these cats, right? But Cordell was kind of, one of the originals to be doing both, along with maybe, Donovan McNabb and these boys. So shout out to Cordell. But another number 10, who was the opposite of Slash, was Chad Pennington. And Chad ended up playing for my Dolphins for a couple of years. But Chad Pennington played 11 years in the NFL with the Jets, the hated Jets. He beat us a couple of times. I hated him. And played for us really 7 years also. 17,000 yards, 17,823 to be accurate. 102 touchdowns, 64 interceptions. He won Comeback Player of the Year 2 times. He did get hurt quite a bit. I mean, like I said, he hurt his shoulder. He wasn't really mobile like that. But he was 2-time completion leader in the NFL, 2-time completion percentage leader. I mean, 02 and 08. And 02 was probably his best year with 3,120 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Again, he didn't have a rifle. And for those who remember Chad Pennington, he played with Randy Moss in college at Marshall. He didn't have a rifle of an arm. He wasn't running. He wasn't, he was just, accurate, made up his mind and threw the ball accurately. And knew where to go with the football, right? So he was kind of anticipatory in terms of his, and what made him great. He wasn't, Josh Allen sitting there, standing back there and able to stand on his back foot and throw the ball 70 yards. Chad Pennington was the exact opposite of being super athletic. But he got the job done for several years with the Jets. Like I said, I remember him beating the Dolphins, and you never really remember why. Like, how exactly is Chad Pennington beating you? Because he's not doing anything special. But he was just accurate and got the ball to the right people, to his playmakers. And the Jets won, pretty good amount of games with Chad Pennington as their leader. And eventually came to Miami, had a good season, led us to the playoffs, and then got hurt again. And, that was pretty much it for Chad Pennington. So shout out to Chad Pennington, one of the number 10s, better number 10s all time in NFL history. And then that was, the mid quarterbacks, type of the thing, right? Lower end quarterbacks. But then came Eli Manning. And Eli, of course, he has the Manning pedigree. I remember in college, when he was going to college, I feel like, man, this guy, he was going to be better than Peyton. And at Ole Miss, he put up some numbers. But I'm going to be honest right here. I think Eli was probably overrated. And I think Eli's going to get into the Hall of Fame. I don't know if Eli should be in the Hall of Fame. Here's why. Eli played 16 years with the Giants, right? 16 years in the NFL. The thing about him is that he was durable. He played 16 games, 14 years. That's impressive for a quarterback who took the beating. Talk about unathletic. This guy was Like when he ran like a baby giraffe, like zero athleticism to his legs at all. But he got the job done pretty good, you will say. 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. That's what's going to get him to the Hall of Fame. 57,023 yards passing, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions. 7 times he had 4,000 yards. That boy could throw for a lot of yards. 3 times he had 3,000 yards. But he led the league in interception 3 times. And that's what I can't get over, is that if you're going to be that great, and you're going to throw that many picks, then you have to be super, super great in terms of your numbers, right? You got to put up crazy, crazy numbers. I don't know if Eli did that consistently. He did have 27 career comebacks, 37 game-winning drives, but his career record is 117 and 117. And when they talk about Hall of Famers, they talk about, elite quarterbacks, and supposedly elite quarterbacks are supposed to be, carrying teams with victories, and that is the definition of mediocre to me. Not to take anything away from Eli being a really great number 10, but in terms of all-time status, I feel like Eli is overrated. But he did win 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and I'm glad he won against the Patriots, because I did not want the Patriots to go undefeated and match the Miami Dolphins for sure. I hate their guts, still do. So shout out to Eli for that. But on a serious note though, Eli was clutch. I give him that. So compared to his brother Peyton was great in the regular season, but seemed to shrink in the playoffs and big moments. Even though he himself has 2 touchdowns, I wouldn't attribute those two Super Bowls, I should say. I wouldn't attribute those 2 Super Bowls to Peyton. Whereas, check his stats, by the way, in the playoffs, Peyton's stats. Whereas Eli really, really was more clutch. Like in the playoffs, obviously he didn't win every year, but in the playoffs, he made some big-time throws. We remember Super Bowl throws, the plays, and he stepped up his game for sure and helped the Giants win the Super Bowls. So it's not all bad for Eli, right? He may not be the greatest thing, but there are some positives there that his brother could have used to enhance his greatness as well. But shout out to Eli Manning, one of the greatest number 10s in NFL history. We'll stick with the quarterbacks and then we'll move on to receivers. So, young guy currently wearing number 10, Justin Herbert, one of the young guns in the NFL. My Dolphins didn't draft Justin Herbert because, people didn't like him at Oregon. He was ho-hum. People didn't think he had it, right? Made up all kinds of excuses for not drafting Justin Herbert. We went with Tua, and that Tua sucks. But when you look at Justin Herbert, this guy has all the measurables. His arm strength. I mean, he has everything. He's athletic, mobile. He has the goods. And he's only been in the league for 3 years. When it's all said and done, he's going to have a ton of passing records because he's going to throw a lot of balls, and the league is getting softer and softer with the quarterbacks. He's going to throw a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards, right? And his number is going to look ridiculous by the time he's done. But even still, with all that said, Justin Herbert's a bad boy, man. He makes some throws. You're like, God, dang. That kid's amazing. 14,089 yards so far, 94 touchdowns, 35 picks. 10 career comebacks, 13 game-winning drives, 2020 Offensive Rookie of the Year, and 1-time Pro Bowler. He walked into a pretty good situation with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, right? Pretty good receivers. But still in all, you got to make the throws. And he makes throws. Big-time throws. Off-platform throws. So when it's all said and done, Justin Herbert, if he's not already, is going to be the best quarterback to have one number 10. For damn sure. Like that's not even gonna be a question. He may not have 2 Super Bowls, won't matter. His stats and his play, for those who watched him, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, he was that guy for sure. So Justin Herbert, another great number 10 in NFL history, currently playing. So let's switch positions real quick. Receivers, Antonio Holmes, his career, he didn't put up crazy stats by the end of his career. He seemed like, he had played forever, but he really didn't. Only played 9 years. Pittsburgh, the Jets, and Chicago. Only 389 career receptions, 6,030 yards, 36 touchdowns. He did win the Super Bowl with the Steelers, and he did win Super Bowl 33 MVP. And we remember that miraculous catch to beat the Cardinals that Ben Roethlisberger made a crazy throw. That was one of the greatest throws ever. But the catch was even more spectacular. Tiptoeing, sideline, like he drops it. It's a wrap. Like, and he's not even that tall. That's what people don't even remember. Like, Santonio wasn't even that tall. Like, he didn't have long arms. Like, he just made a spectacular, hell of a catch. One of the best catches in Super Bowl history. 2009 was his best year. 79 catches, 1,248 yards, 5 touchdowns. But again, right, when you remember Santonio Holmes' career, it seems like because he played in Pittsburgh so long with Ben, it seems like he did more, but he actually didn't. But he'll always be remembered, for those of us who watched that game, as one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history. He was quick. He was fast. He could burn dudes, man. He was like that for sure for the time that he played. But injuries caught up to him, slowed him down, and the rest is kind of history from that point on, especially for small dudes, right? But really solid receiver in the NFL, Santonio Holmes. Moving on to another small guy, fast guy, Deshaun Jackson. Now, Deshaun was even faster than Santonio. Deshaun was like crazy speed. 15 years with Philadelphia, Washington, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, and the Rams. 11,263 yards for his career, 58 touchdowns, 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champ. He led the league in yards per catch 4 times. In 2010, he averaged 22.5 yards per catch. Damn. Who else is doing that? Is anybody doing that today? This guy, and people knew what he was doing. They knew he was going deep, and they still couldn't stop him. He had the wiggle and the speed. Like, Deshaun was that dude. He was that guy, man. 2013 was probably his best year, though. He caught 82 passes, 1,332 yards, and 9 touchdowns. 4 punt returns for TDs, by the way. In 2010, that's the most famous one, the Miracle at the Meadowlands. I remember watching that game live, like, Giants fans. That was crazy, man. Watch that game and listen to the call by Joe Buck at the end of that game. I went back and watched that highlight, man. That junket, the way he's talking is like so funny, man. It's like that kicker, the punter. My goodness, I don't know what happened to him after that. But that punter, man, was suicide watch or something. But no, just one of the most feared threats in the league, Deshaun Watson. Just all around, deep balls, punt returns, kick returns, whatever it was. Like, stay away from this cat because he could smoke you, man, real bad. He was just straight jets. Like 9 route, whatever you needed. Crossing pattern, take it to the house. He was just that guy, man. One of the most electrifying players ever in league history, Deshaun Jackson, number 10. Some of the current cats wearing number 10 today. So DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the league, and by the time he's done, he's going to be one of the best all time. 10 years, Houston and Arizona, now with the Tennessee Titans, catching passes from my guy Ryan Tannehill. So far, 11,298 yards, 71 touchdowns, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 6 times he's had 1,000 yards, 3 times he's had 10-plus TDs. 2015, he caught 111 for 1,521, 11 touchdowns. And the amazing thing about him, which was also the amazing thing about Larry Fitzgerald, combining names here, Larry Fitzgerald, that I talked about with number 11, is that these guys played with some scrubby quarterbacks and still caught a ton of balls and put up some big numbers. Like I said, there is no excuse, man, for these receivers to not be doing what they do, regardless of who they're playing with. Right? So this guy, that 2015 season when they caught 111 for 15, 21, 11 touchdowns, was catching passes from Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett, rest in peace, that year. Those aren't great quarterbacks. Those aren't Hall of Famers, elite dudes. But year after year, he clocked in He was one of the best round runners, shortest hands in the league. Probably still got the best hands in the league till this day. Like, he doesn't drop nothing. If it's in the area, he's coming down with it. Jump balls, having a stretch out, layout. He is that guy, man. Professional receiver. In 2017, he led the league in touchdown receptions. Just an all-around guy. He doesn't have the speed that he used to get by you anymore, but he still knows how to get wide open, create separation, head and shoulder fakes and all that, man. Broke D'Angelo Hall's ankles literally in a training camp session. And he did that to many dudes in the game, for sure. D-Hop's going to be one of the best. By the time he's done, he's probably going to end with like 15K yards if he keeps playing a few more years, right? 15K passing. If not at close to 100 touchdowns for sure. He's going to have a Hall of Fame case. And of this generation, there aren't many receivers who've been better than Nuke in this generation for sure of receivers. One of the best number 10s. And lastly, the last number 10 currently playing, they call him the Cheetah. One of the fastest, quickest cats to ever play. Most electrifying cats to play. What's up with number 10 of these quick, fast receivers, man? Cheetah is just, he's a cheetah, man. Track speed, quickness out of this world. Like, some guys could just go fly pattern, right? Run by you. He could do that too. But he's also so quick and shifty, man. Like, he goes from start to go and stop to go, and he's just amazing with it. I'm glad he's on the Dolphins now. But he started with Kansas City. Alex Smith put up numbers. Of course, with Pat, put up numbers. 7 years so far in the league. 598 receptions, 8,340 yards, 63 touchdowns. This brother's ridiculous. 63 touchdowns, sorry. 5 times 1,000 yards, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and a Super Bowl champ with the Chiefs. 2 times the man has had 150 yards receiving in a playoff game. 2 times. That's crazy. You think you're playing great defenses, right? Everybody's locked in. Everybody knows this brother's getting the ball, but you can't stop this brother from getting the ball because he's like that. 2018, he went 87, 1,479 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And then last year, 2022, with the Dolphins, 119 receptions, 1,710 yards, 7 touchdowns. This brother is amazing. He's going to go down as one of the absolute top receivers ever. His reception numbers and his yards are going to continue to climb because I know Tua likes to feed him, and he's going to continue to get the ball. And in this pass-happy league, there's no reason why he can't catch 100 balls a year, get over 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 yards every year. And he's going to do that for a couple more years, and before you know it, he's at 14,000, 15,000 receiving yards and, close to 100 touchdowns, and he's getting ready for the Hall of Fame. Not even counting his kick return and punt return abilities. This brother's just like that, man. No doubt about it. Tyreek Hill, one of the absolute best weapons. That's what you can call him. He's not just a receiver. He's just a weapon. Put him wherever you want. He's just a weapon with the ball in his hands. He scares defenses. He opens things up for other people. He's just if everybody had a Tyreek Hill on their team, the NFL would be so crazy. But unfortunately, there's only one of this guy. And I'm glad he's with the Dolphins for damn sure. So that was really all the receivers at number 10 who I think, deserve to be on my list as the best. For sure at quarterback, Justin Herbert, I think he's gonna end up taking the cake, all right? I think Justin Herbert's going to end up being the best 10. So right now, Eli holds the crown. Justin's probably going to overtake him. And then really for receiver, it's going to be D-Hop or Tyreek. But I think because Justin, they're going to protect the hell out of quarterbacks and the hell out of Justin. He's going to play longer. His stats are going to be ridiculous. He's probably going to be, when it's all said and done, I think Justin Herbert's going to end up being the very best number 10, regardless of position, to have played in the NFL. So shout out to Justin 10. You are my favorite number 10, who I think is the best number 10, or the chance to be the best number 10 in NFL history. All right, y'all. that's it. Appreciate y'all watching once again. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, all the good stuff. Tell your friends about it. But season's almost here. But since it's not, we'll still be counting down. Catch the next episode, number 9, coming up. Appreciate you guys. Catch you later. Peace.